The involvement of the younger generation of Nigeria in the fight to eradicate corruption is an imperative, especially with widespread corrupt practices in all sectors of our national life. This necessitated the introduction of anti-corruption clubs and vanguards in schools and tertiary educational institutions in Nigeria by ICPC. Many Nigerian schools and organizations have keyed into these initiatives. Many have undertaken excursions to the Commission at different times to ascertain the workings of ICPC. This is the area of focus on today's episode of the program Corruption Must Go, a production of the Public Enlightenment Department of ICPC. My name is Murna Ishaku, your host. Thank you for joining us. Section 16 of the Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Act 2000 forbids making false statement to the Commission in the course of investigation. This will be expatiated by Mr. Enosa Omogibo of our legal department.
They say every day is for the thief, one day for the owner of the house. But ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission, has reversed the role. It is now every day for the owner of the house. If you're involved in bribery, over-invoicing, or any shady deal, the day of reckoning has come. ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission, is watching you. If you're reported for any corrupt practice, you'll be investigated, prosecuted, and punished. Corruption is harmful to our nation. Join the campaign against it by reporting any corrupt practice to ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission.
Let we join hands with ICPC, make them better. Let's make Nigeria great again. ICPC, they want to. Hand for corruption.
Break the chain of corruption now. Don't give, don't take. This message is brought to you by ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission.
ICPC has arraigned 3 persons before Justice O.A. Ikpaye of the Ikeja High Court, Lagos, for extorting money from truck drivers at the terminal gates of Nigerian Ports Authority in Apapa, Lagos. The accused persons, Mr. Olu Odegbemi, Adu Olufolake, and Upe Ebong, were accused of using their office to confer undue advantage upon themselves, contrary to Section 19 of the Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Act 2000. The accused persons all pleaded not guilty, and Justice Ikpaye granted the first defendant bail to the tune of 500,000 naira with 2 sureties in like sum. He also said that one of the sureties must be a blood relative who must be resident in Lagos and show evidence of tax payment. The second and third defendants did not make application for bail, and so the court ordered that they be remanded in prison. Mr. Ahaziah A. Suleiman, a former acting director general of the Voice of Nigeria, VON, has called on ICPC to confiscate the many unoccupied houses littering the streets of Abuja and convert them to government properties. Mr. Suleiman made the call at the inauguration of the Anti-Corruption and Transparency Unit Act 2 of VON in Abuja. He noted that people with ill-gotten wealth use such funds to buy houses in highbrow areas in different cities in Nigeria to hide their wealth. He therefore advised ICPC and EFCC to take an inventory of properties of alleged corrupt people in cities such as Abuja, Lagos, Port Harcourt, and Kano. ICPC Chairman Mr. Ekbo Unta, who was represented by Assistant Commissioner Mr. Justin Kwatse, called on the members of the ACTU to be worthy of service to the organization by working with sincerity, sacrifice, and dedication on duty. That's all on the tidbit segment.
Nigerian students have been enjoined to take special interest in anti-corruption related issues to avoid acts that are detrimental to their future and careers. The students were challenged when they came on tour to ICPC at different times. The involvement of the younger generation of Nigeria in the fight to eradicate corruption is indispensable, especially with widespread corrupt practices in all sectors of our national life. This has necessitated the introduction of anti-corruption clubs and vanguards in secondary and tertiary institutions by ICPC. These are avenues for injecting the spirit of transparency, accountability, honesty and integrity in the minds of these Nigerians at their formative stage. Many Nigerian schools and organizations have keyed into this initiative. For instance, the Nigerian Association of Management and Business Students, University of Abuja, Turkish International College, and Hilltop Academy, Suleja in Niger State, among many others, who recently undertook an excursion to ICPC at different times to ascertain the operational methodology of the anti-graft organization. Chairman of the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, Ekpo Unta, on each occasion told the visiting students that corruption breeds poverty because of deliberate diversion of funds meant for development by the perpetrators. The chairman, represented by the secretary to the commission, Mr. Elvis Oglafa, always noted that most young people now take to music and dance, paying little attention to other important aspects that deal with their future.
But I think that you people are very special. For you to think of coming to the ICPC where people dread to come, even when they are invited to come, they say no, they won't come. There are top executives, several leaders in communities, traditional rulers. When you say come to the ICPC, they say no, they won't come because they are sick. What the ICPC needs is a crop of people like you to help us to fight the corruption. I'm sure you know that as we are seated here, we can never know what is happening in your university except to tell us. Or we specifically send somebody to be amongst you to give us information, and that is expensive. We hear of a lot of stories, but we cannot, there is no evidence. Do you understand? There are so many stories that we hear, from not only from our university, but other universities, but there is no evidence. Nobody wants to speak out.
Anta said, youths as the leaders of tomorrow should play their own role in the fight against corruption, noting that there was the need for them to take an interest in corruption-related issues to avoid getting involved in such acts. The chairman further explained that apart from investigation and prosecution, ICPC had assisted several organizations to review corruption-prone processes as part of its anti-corruption campaign. According to him, one of the problems in the anti-corruption campaign is the wrong attitude of Nigerians. He advised the youths to imbibe the right values and avoid acts that were hazardous to their future. In their separate remarks at the forum, some departmental heads said, corruption thrives where systems do not work.
Procedures are enforced according to the rules. People will not bend them. Do you agree? So corruption basically is a bending of rules. And who allows rules to be bent? It's the managers that drive the system.
But let me tell you that the mandate of the Education Department is derived from Section 6 of the ICPC Act.
The ICPC, upon receiving intelligence, upon receiving petition, can go to those MDAs and with the accord of the managers of those MDAs, say, okay, we want to look at your system. and see why this system allows corruption to happen, so that ICPC can give you advice to prevent corruption from happening.
I don't think I will say anything I straight to you. We prosecute. We take people to court and prosecute them. But the only question that I want you to disabuse your mind about ICPC, sometimes here we don't prosecute high level of people in the society. We do. But now let me also put the same question to you again here. If you find a law enforcement agent on the road because he has taken only 10 naira and has compromised the system, and the man driving that vehicle carries maybe a bomb, it's possible, is that not so? But that amount of money is just 10 naira or 10,000. You see the type of results you are going to get with the man, the car loaded with bombs. So if you are prosecuting somebody with 10,000 naira or 10 naira, it's high enough because it's corruption. What he has compromised, the effect may be more than what you are seeing. You may take your patient to the hospital. Because of 5 naira, somebody to bring a card, and he has not done so, and your patient dies. How do you feel? If you are prosecuting such a person for 5 naira, now you say the 5 naira is too small, that is saying, no, disagree to man. Corruption is corruption. We'll prosecute them, whether small amount of money or big, they have the same effect. Thank you, sir.
An investigator is a man that is assigned to find out the truth. So it means that investigation is about finding out the truth. And we use what we call 4WH. Who, what, where, why, and how. Who did what, where, why did he do it, and how. And once we have this packed together, we can form an opinion and do a report.
The Finance and Account Department does is to make sure that the Commission gets what it needs to fight the war against corruption.
They therefore challenged the youths to speak up against corruption. President of the Business Students Association and teachers who visited said the visit was part of academic excursion meant to build the students' scope on management issues and corporate responsibilities.
As a young student of the university, we know that very soon most of us will be leaving the university setting, and with what is happening in the society, the corruptness, the corruption, everything that is going on. So we want our students to know the negative effect of that. And there is a saying that says that ignorance is a disease and knowledge is also power. So we want the commission, the management, and the personnel, resource personnel that will be speaking to us to educate us more about this organization, because most of them have been saying, well, it's the meaning of ICPC, but I told you that you should not worry, that we'll find a way of writing to the commission for an academic excursion so that all our questions can be handled. Because as a business student, believe that a few years from now, we'll be handling 1 or 2 offices, and it will be good for us.
Some of them know that corruption is bad, but actually they don't even know how much the government are trying in all their efforts to bring corruption to the town without even existing again. So I mean, with this, it will help the students to have, a good knowledge. They already have the knowledge, and that one will be part and parcel of them as they wake up every morning to know that in Nigeria, corruption has no stay.
And with the national value curriculum, the children have been able to know that exam malpractice is one of the genesis of bribery and corruption, which is a cankerworm in our nation today.
Now we are able to know that corruption starts within ourselves. If we can't fight corruption within ourselves, then we can't fight corruption of a nation. The commission has inspired us to know that we can fight corruption within ourselves. If we hear that this person is doing the wrong thing, that person is doing the wrong thing, this other person is doing the wrong thing, as a student now, we have been inspired to fight against corruption.
We have learned today that if we have any complaint, we can come to this place, we can call them on phone, we can email them to tell us our complaint, and they've promised us that this complaint will be dealt with.
Mr. Geoffrey Anumve is the head of Department Education in ICPC. He explains further on this collaboration with the students.
It is the belief of ICPC and by extension the Education Department that corruption cannot be fought only by arresting and imprisoning people. we believe that if we start to preach against corruption right from childhood, then the tendency is that we catch them young and we'll be able to condemn corruption and know the right thing to do right at the early stage, so that at adulthood, when they find themselves in various positions, at least they will exhibit those tendencies. That is why ICPC has programs that try as much as possible to relate with the youth, particularly the children, so as to create moral values in them that will help them in their adult life. One of such activities is the formation of anti-corruption clubs in our primary schools, especially in the first 6 years, and then basic 1 to 3. And also in our higher institutions, we have what we call anti-corruption clubs, which incorporates all tertiary institutions, including universities. Such clubs are closely monitored by ICPC, and reports are normally written of their activities and sent to ICPC for monitoring. That has been ongoing. And we also have what we call integrity visits. Students in various schools and pupils visit ICPC, where they ask questions on the activities of ICPC and why we should condemn corruption. So it's a very good platform for them to know what ICPC is doing. And they don't only visit us, sometimes ICPC also reciprocates by visiting such schools and holding meetings with the management of such schools, and making sure and encouraging them to establish anti-corruption clubs. That is for those that have not established. So it is ongoing. We also have ICPC, through the collaboration of National Educational Research and Development Council, NEDEC, has developed what we call National Values Curriculum in the area of national value education. We believe that if some of these values are infused in the curriculum and they start learning about it at a very early stage, then it will help them to grow as better citizens. So such values as honesty, discipline, sound moral values, national consciousness, contentment. You know, when you are contented with what you have, you don't extend your eyes to any other thing. So we believe that when these values are imbibed in them at the early stage, then as they grow up, they will be better citizens. Because we believe that if these things are imbibed early in life, our products will become better citizens as the time grows, as they become adults. The problem we've been having now, if you look at most of our people and if you are talking to them, sometimes they talk as if corruption is okay. But if the little ones, as their children, see the adult ones, maybe in their communities, being condemned, and then these things being taught to them in schools, telling them, look, this man, because he is corrupt, see your school is very dilapidated. It is that corrupt person that has made you sit in this kind of school. You tell them, you went to hospital yesterday, you didn't have drugs, and your father was sick yesterday, he went to the clinic, to the government clinic. I didn't get treated because there were no drugs. Why is it so? It's because those people who are there in charge have diverted the drugs that would have been used, and all these things are caused by corruption. So if you tell the young ones at that age that, look, these are the things that are happening, that we are affecting you. See the road going to your house. The local government chairman was giving money, he did not do it. So when we have forums with them, these are the issues that we discuss, and we also request them to make their contributions too. So our collaboration has been very nice.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Section 16 provides that any person who being an officer charged with the receipt, custody, use or management of any part of the public fund or property knowingly furnishes any false statement or return in respect of any money or property received by him or entrusted to his care, or of any balance of money or property in his possession or under his control, is guilty of an offense and shall on conviction be liable to 7 years imprisonment. Again, this subsection is clear and all-embracing. It could be that individuals who are charged with the use of public funds make false returns. A very common situation where this section can be invoked is when public officers make retirement claims of funds advanced to them. For example, an officer could be advanced money to maybe attend a conference overseas or attend to other matters. If without attending that conference, he raises some fictitious receipts and retires the money advanced to him. If investigation reveals that he did not travel out or he did not embark on that assignment and he has generated fictitious receipt to retire the funds, then when it is established, he could be tried under this subsection, under this section 16 of the Act.
Attitudinal change is key in the fight against corruption. Imbibe the right values and avoid acts that are hazardous to your future. That's all we can take on this week's edition of the program. For comments and contributions, reach us on 0800 call ICPC or our social media platforms. Bye for now.